Hey guys, I'm Ludi Lin. I play Liu Kang in the Mortal Kombat film series, and I'm on Straw Hat with Get Goofy. Is that wait? What did I say?
Wake up, Juju. Time to go to work. All right. Can we talk about wake up, I get it, I get it. Wake up, I get it, I go. With everyone saying I'm up next. It's not my fault that the vocals are gold. They're making the haters so upset. My life is a movie, the way that I roll. They saying I'm goofy, but baby, you know I'm making everybody obsessed. Cause we the best, how we get wrecked, and I know we gonna get bread. 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 We gonna get bread.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Juju Green, aka Straw Hat Goofy. You're a movie guy, and we are here talking about Mortal Kombat 2 with Liu Kang himself, the fire guy, Ludi Lin. What's going on, my guy?
Yo, what's up? Thanks for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
Bro, I'm happy that you're here, and you brought a guest.
Yeah, this is Pax.
Okay.
Pax for peace.
Hey, Pax. How
Yeah.
old is Pax?
Pax is 15 weeks, 16 weeks this weekend.
Oh, you're such a baby.
Yeah, he's pretty good though. He's pretty good. So about Pax, he's a singleton, so one of those rare 1 litter puppies.
Okay.
So he grew up without any other puppies
wow.
around, hasn't been socialized. Just imagine he's like one of those bubble boys, you know?
Yeah.
Until 7 weeks old.
Like Jake Gyllenhaal in the movie Bubble Boy.
Was he in a movie? Was he
You
a
didn't
bubble
know
boy?
this?
No.
I thought
really?
you were referencing the Jake Gyllenhaal
No.
movie. There's a
No,
movie called Bubble Boy.
Based on the real life bubble boy.
I didn't know there was a real life Bubble Boy.
I think there's a.
Look at all this discovery between you two.
We're learning from each other right now.
I'm pretty sure there's a Netflix documentary called Bubble Boy.
The
Okay.
answer is yes and yes.
Yes and yes. Okay, so that's the recommendation right there. You watch Bubble Boy, and I'll watch the documentary Bubble Boy on Netflix.
Great, yes. Was that his first role?
I don't think it was his first role. I think
was
it
that
came right after Donnie Darko, though. You could tell it's around that Donnie Darko era of Jake Gyllenhaal.
Wait, but he was no longer a boy, and he wasn't a boy in Donnie Darko.
No,
was
he
he?
wasn't.
Like
but he
a
was
teenager.
young enough. Like he was a teenager. So
Yeah.
like in Bubble Boy, he's not a boy. He's like
He's
a
a
young
bubble
man.
man.
Who like
Bubble
who
young-
grew
young
up,
bubble man.
Bubble young
Okay.
man. But you know, one of the characters says like, "Oh, look at that, it's Bubble Boy," and like
Yeah.
everyone calls him Bubble Boy in it. But it's a super funny movie because like
Same year.
Was it same year?
Released the same year,
Wow.
both in 01.
Wow.
Same year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the story follows him as like, you know, Bubble Boy. He grows up in a house. He's like
Right.
encased in all these bubbles. And his best friend who lives next door, the girl next door, goes to see him every day. And as they get older, think like Forrest Gump, Ginny and Forrest, she leaves and he basically like gets a mobile bubble and goes on a journey to like find her across country.
Wow,
So
okay.
it's a giant like road trip movie with Jake
Yeah.
Gyllenhaal and this giant
So it's
bubble.
fun.
It's a fun movie.
Little bit of romance,
Little bit.
little bit of okay.
It's like a
Okay.
road trip comedy.
Yeah, yeah,
you
and then
know?
Donnie Darko in the same year,
in the same year.
which speaks to his range, right?
Jake Gyllenhaal is like, he has so much range, and I love him. We just had Maggie Gyllenhaal in here last
Oh
week.
wow, yeah,
So,
doing Bride,
The Bride.
the
Talking about
Bride,
The Bride.
yeah, she's amazing.
Oh yeah, she has a great eye for direction. Like I want to see everything that she puts out, but she just has like a soothing voice. I think people really underrate that about her,
Mm.
and I don't know how much voice acting that she's done, but I want to hear more of it after doing the podcast with
Okay,
her.
I don't know that I can recognize her voice. Actually, it's something
Oh,
I should
man.
take note of next time.
Oh yeah, definitely. And that's the thing. I didn't recognize it until like you sit down and you kind of talk to her, and
Yeah,
the way
yeah.
she just kind of describes her process, you know, everything like
Yeah,
you know
okay.
her sensibilities. You're just sitting there like,
Yeah, it calms you.
it's calming.
Some people
It's-
have that,
it's
like
very
just like
calming.
it draws you in, and then it makes you feel like everything's gonna be okay.
And that's how she made us feel in here. She was just super chill, super dope. But let's talk about some Liu Kang. Let's talk about some Mortal Kombat 2. I watched it. Bro, it's so
God.
much damn fun. And you could tell, like, it's made with love for the fans of Mortal Kombat. Like, I'm picking up the Easter eggs. I'm digging the fights. The fights have really, like, stepped up their game from the first one. And, like, do you feel that way, like, going from the first one to the second one and, like, noticing that things are getting more intricate, a lot more big, and there's more for you to, I don't want to say more for you to do, but there's, like, more opportunity and more confidence in the fight choreography this time around?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we were way better prepared this time for the fights. They were choreographed like meticulously ahead of time, and we got the previs as opposed to the first movie. It was we didn't have much leeway ahead of time, and then the fights are changing all the time. But I think this time the director and the stunt team, they had better communication.
Right.
So what we were given in the previs from the stunts team was exactly what we were going to record during the principal photography.
Yeah, see,
Yeah.
the thing about those fights for me is like, especially with your fight with Kung Lao, because this is a spoiler episode, we could talk about this. It's what?
Yeah. So you probably remember the movie better than I do
because
I've seen it
2 nights ago.
I think I saw it 2 years ago.
Oh wow, it's been
Yeah.
in the can that long?
It's been in the can that long and hasn't changed in 2 years. So
Oh my gosh.
yeah,
Wow.
I saw it with all the cast in Australia 2 years ago when we just finished additional photography, and there's nothing much else was done after that.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's very interesting. So now it's so funny because when we had Ryan Coogler in here earlier this week, he said that when you make a movie, you release it into a different world, right?
Yeah.
And
Okay. I can see what he means. Yeah.
And that's exactly this. Like,
Yeah.
it's finished 2 years ago, and now you're releasing it into the big
Yeah.
2026.
Yeah. A lot has changed. Yeah.
It's so crazy how that first one, I feel like that one should have been a movie theater experience. Like, obviously, we were in the pandemic. It releases on HBO Max. And I remember watching it and going, man, I wish I can, like, feel the crowd and, like, cheer where, like, certain characters come on screen or certain moments happen. And with this one, I'm glad that you're getting that theatrical experience with this one. Like, I heard that when you like to watch the movie, you like to sit in the back and, like, watch the crowd's reaction. Are you going to do that with this one,
Well,
too?
no, I'm both extremes. If I watch a movie that's not my own movie,
Yeah.
I like to be in front row center.
Oh, okay.
Because I just don't understand. Like, I've got a pretty big TV at home.
Right.
And if I want to be in the theater, I want to get my money's worth.
Yeah.
I want to be there in the front, in the center, and then there's nobody in front of me. You know, I can stretch my legs out and just crane my neck. I don't care about that. I've got a strong neck.
Right.
So I like to crane it back and just enjoy the full experience. I don't mind going
This is what
like,
you've been training
I don't,
for?
I don't mind going like this back and forth between the screen. Makes me feel really immersed into the world.
Right.
But yeah, for like when any of my movies release, like Power Rangers, I went in the theaters
Yeah.
and sat in the back. And I mean, I think filmmakers, actors do that. You know,
Yeah.
I didn't come up with that. Someone recommended it, and
Yeah.
it was. Yeah, it's sometimes it's a nice experience, and sometimes it's a humbling experience.
I say I'm a movie critic, but I also say that I'm not, because like I feel like movie critics comes with a different kind of like perception. Like I don't feel like I'm a cinephile or film bro or nothing like that, but I'm
Right.
someone who just loves movies and
Right.
I love how they make me feel.
Right.
And so even when I see a movie that like I necessarily didn't 100% rock with, I'm grateful for the experience, because I'm like, well, at least I like got out the house. I'm in there. I got to see something new, and like there's still
Right.
some fun to be had in it.
Right.
With Mortal Kombat, like I do feel like there was some loss when it went to HBO Max, because there's something about the communal experience that you're watching something with a whole bunch of strangers and you're all kind of like feeling the same thing in the moment.
Yeah.
Or even when you have like different reactions to the same thing, and then you get to have those conversations later. But with this particular fight scene that I want to get into between you and Kung Lao, what I'm really impressed with is when I think of like fight choreography, especially the ones that have been revolutionized, in my opinion, by things like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, where wire work became such a big thing. There's a lot of wire work in that fight, but there's also a lot of like in camera, like fisticuffs that are just kind of like you in camera and those type of things. And I'm always curious, how is it incorporating like your actual fighting styles in that technical aspect and combining that with the wire work, and how difficult is that to kind of like balance those two?
Do you mean my personal fighting style?
Yeah,
or
like
the
your
fighting
personal
style, like Liu Kang's fighting style.
That's what I'm saying, right? It's like you're trained in martial arts, and
Right.
then you have Liu Kang's fighting style.
Right.
How much of that is kind of like you imparting like what you know as a martial artist, while also saying like, okay, this is what Liu Kang does, and then we got to put some wire work to like bring it all together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of it. So it depends on who you're working with. Like the stunt team we had on Mortal Kombat 2. They were very serious about creating distinct styles for each fighter according to their background,
Right.
taking some lore from the video games, and so they're very good at listening as well, like asking me about my background,
Yeah.
what I'm comfortable with, incorporating what I can do, what I'm comfortable with, what I know, and incorporating those abilities and skills into the choreography. But on the other end, I think there's a lot of like unlearning to be done
Yeah.
when it comes to film fighting, because a lot of different types of martial arts and combat, they're not adapted they're not easily adaptable to the screen.
Okay.
Because like Muay Thai, I feel like unless you do like variations of it where it's like more finessed and acrobatic, but if you're trained to like fight in the ring, it's very hard and it's very just, it looks strong and it does damage, but it doesn't work well with the artistry and the acrobatics and the beautiful display that you're trying to convey in the film, like like during the fight between Liu Kang and Kung Lao.
Yeah, I think when it comes to a great fight scene in a movie, it looks like a dance, and that's why it's like choreographed as such, right?
Precisely.
And I remember I did like this like really fun video for Ke Huy Quan's movie.
Oh, sweet.
Love Hurts.
Yeah.
And it was really cool that, I got to work with a team at 87 North, and they were teaching me like, how to like do it on camera.
Yeah.
And that was very eye-opening because he said, oh, I know, like, he like showed me how you punch, and I showed him how I punched. One, it wasn't a good punch. So he was like, yeah, no, you need to learn how to punch. But then he also said, that doesn't look good on camera.
Yeah.
So he taught me how to throw a punch that looked good for the camera.
Yeah.
He said, even though if you were in a real fight, like...
It's not effective.
It's not
Yeah,
effective.
it's telegraphing. It's too big. But on the screen, they sell it really well.
And so I feel like a lot of these fight scenes are sold very, very well. Great use of environment. And it also, like, who was I talking to? I was talking to, Daniel Trachtenberg.
Okay.
And he was the director of the recent Predator movies. And one of his big...
Man, you've just named... before we even get there, you just named all the movies that I'm supposed to bring up later.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, see, this is why I should start the interview with, like, what's the movies?
Something that has to do with Ke Huy Quan,
Okay.
the new Predators
The new
movie,
Predator movie. We talked about
Predators
Sinners
Badland,
before,
and we talked about Sinners. I'm all out.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Listen, we can
I'm
still talk
done here
about
within 5 minutes.
Because
Yeah.
I'm curious to hear your thoughts on those
Okay,
still.
okay.
So we can definitely talk about those. But I guess I'm just so excited to talk about like this movie and like these fights and like the way they come to life, because it is the purest form of like movie magic, right? It is, again, these things that if you're in a real fight, it's not going to look as pretty on screen, but they come off as like very theatrical, like it's almost like they're on a stage, and it makes great use of the environment, which is why I brought up Dan, where he said one of his big influences was Steven Spielberg and how he was talking about the geography of a scene.
Right.
And there's these fight scenes where no matter what's happening between the fists, you never get lost with like where the environment is.
Right.
So that way you never like have to go like, oh, well, how did this fight happen? How did this
Right.
fight happen? So with this fight with you and
Right.
Kung Lao, I was just geeking out at like the wire work of the Liu Kang. Like I want to call it, it's like the bicycle kick where he does like
Right.
the backflip and he does
Right.
like the
Yeah.
Talk to me about like the wire work on that, and also like while you're on the wire, do you just surrender yourself to the movement, or does it take a certain amount of training to be like, this is how Liu Kang moves, and like let me like incorporate this wire, like work with it?
The wire moves and that bicycle kick took like real research and development, because it's like, because we know what the fans want, right? They want to see the moves from the game, but again, we can't just serve them everything that is carbon copied from the game.
Of course.
Otherwise, what's the point in watching it? We want to inject a little bit of spice, a little bit of fuel, a little bit of something new for them to go, oh man, I like that, and I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought of doing it like that
Give
before.
them something
You know?
that they can only get out of the film.
Yeah, exactly. So the bicycle kick became this backflip bicycle kick, because we already did the bicycle kick in the first movie.
You can't just do that again and spam it. Like,
Right, exactly. So once they figured out what they wanted to do, there's lots of, with a stunt team, they'll do lots of testing, lots of variations. That bicycle kick probably had 10 different variations, and this one like won out.
Yeah.
And then they train the actors on it.
Got it.
And then once you're on the wire, it's like with anything, it's just practice.
Yeah.
It's just getting the feel of the wire, and they put the hooks in certain places that allow you to do that move, and you just you just go with the flow, and then you just
How long did it take you to practice that before you got on set and actually put it to camera?
It's usually weeks of practice, and you want to make sure that you can do it. You don't take up 2 hours
Right.
on set to do it, right?
Yeah,
You want to
and-
come in and be able to hit it in the first try and just
Exactly.
like, all right, and the rest is just safety.
Right, and you ain't.
Yeah.
I can already tell you don't have no nerves when it comes to that. You have experience like wire work and those type of things. So I can tell you're just kind of all right. Let's go. Let's get it. Like like,
Yeah, I love doing wire work actually. It's like a real team effort, and really it's yeah, it's a real science because there's lots of physics behind it, and then there's the stunt team that pulls the wire, the
Yeah.
rigging team, right? Everyone has to work together and like be just in the right time, in the right place, and all the movements have to fit all together for it to actually work,
Yeah.
for it to like call cut, and that's the take we use.
it's movies version of like it's math for movies version of high math. It's like you got to put all these like things into the equation, and then hopefully the final amount like looks really good on camera.
Yeah, 100%. And that's
Yeah.
how I feel about making a film in general. Like each take
Yes.
is an experiment. And you have this whole team trying to piece together like the camera movement, the acting pieces, the dialogue, the lighting, and everything has to fit. So when you call action,
Yeah.
it's the experiment going forwards. And if everything's right, then that experiment has worked.
Right.
It's really exciting because
Yeah.
it's like each one, it's like you have a hypothesis of how this is supposed to go. And a lot of times it doesn't go that way because something's off. Like maybe I forget my line, maybe like maybe the lighting wasn't there. A lot of times it's not because of the acting. A lot of times it's because of the technicalities around. So that hypothesis failed and you have to do it again.
Movies are a collaboration, and it's all experiment. And I've been watching a lot of Big Bang Theory lately, and I've been learning
Sweet.
that there's like theoretical physicists, and
Yeah.
then there's there's what's the other one? It's like theoretical, and then like Leonard does this. I think he calls it applied science or something like
applied,
that. And that's his job, is like to take these big ideas and then like to actually like test it out, right?
Right.
So that's like the magic of movie making. It's a collaborative effort where everyone is like hopefully is on their game to create something like really dope. I want to talk about Lui Kang a little bit, and this is gonna be maybe a 2 to 3 part question. Okay.
Ready.
So, who do you think is the mascot of the Mortal Kombat franchise, just as a whole?
Scorpion.
Scorpion, right? Okay. So who do you think is? I know there's been multiple main characters throughout different games,
Right.
But if you was to assign the main character of the Mortal Kombat franchise, who would it be?
Liu Kang.
Liu Kang, right?
Yeah.
So I find that very, very interesting.
Yeah.
Where you have like because I think Liu Kang is the main character
Yeah.
as well, and I think Scorpion has kind of like morphed in my mind to
Mm-hmm.
the mascot. For a long time, it was Liu Kang, but this is what I really dig about the movie is that your character Liu Kang goes through an arc where he's realizing that he's not the main
Right.
character.
Right.
He's like, I'm not the chosen one.
Right.
And I think that's very fascinating for like people who are fans of the game and people who like think this way, because the movies are meant to challenge you a little bit.
Right.
And I feel like this movie does challenge the notion of like Liu Kang he's one of the guys.
Yeah.
But this movie isn't just like
Yeah.
diving just straight into that.
Yeah.
Like with your personal thoughts on like, Scorpion being the mascot and Liu Kang being that, was that easy for you to like understand on the script when you read like, okay, Liu Kang is realizing he's not the main guy, or was it like a difficult realization for you?
Yeah, I think it's really perceptive that you picked that up because that was, since the first movie, that was like the realization that he's supposed to go through. It's always his confrontation. I think Liu Kang in our rendition of the Mortal Kombat so far, the movie so far, it surrounds his relationship between Raiden, Kung Lao, and Liu Kang, right? And Kung Lao goes. I'm just gonna dive in and go a little nerdy on Mortal Kombat lore now, right?
Yeah, go for it.
Because Kung Lao, in the first movie and in the video game lore, he is a descendant of the great Kung Lao, who was the chosen one, right? So Kung Lao also thinks that he's the chosen one.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people in the Mortal Kombat universe thinking that they're the chosen one. And then in the first movie, Kung Lao, the dynamic between Kung Lao and Liu Kang is that they grew up together under Raiden, and they train together, and they have this brotherly competition. They love each other, but also they're
There can only
competing
be
against
one.
each other. There can only be one. So Kung Lao initially thought that he was always destined to be the chosen one until Liu Kang got adopted and brought into the monastery by Raiden, and now he's the chosen one. Right. But in the movie, in the end, as you've seen, what Raiden tells him is that, like, at least in this tournament, that he's not the one. He thinks that he's the one to take down Shao Kahn to avenge his brother Kung Lao from the last movie.
Right.
But Raiden tells him that this is not his destiny. And what is his destiny? It probably draws back to Kung Lao.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I always love the Kung Lao Liu Kang dynamic, especially, you know, I feel like there's been a little bit of changes to Kung Lao's characterization from the movies to the video game, because Kung Lao in the video game is so brash and he's so like cocky. He's like, I'm Kung Lao. Like, Liu Kang is in my shadow.
Yeah.
Whereas like Liu Kang is almost like the yin to his yang, where he's very calm, he's very reserved, and he's also like, he knows his worth, he knows his capableness. Yeah. But he never flaunts it. Yeah. And he's like, and that's why, like, you're not the chosen one, Kung Lao. Yeah. And I love how, like, each of them both get their moments to shine. Yeah. But I do love that the movies, because obviously you can't get into all that lore in the films, but I do love that there is this very clear arc of Liu Kang setting aside, like, this notion of, like, being the chosen one and giving it to Katana, which then, because there's not a lot of Katana Liu Kang romance in this movie, I believe that sets it up for the third movie. So I don't know if I know you can't tell me nothing about the third movie, but do you, or would you like to see some, like, Katana and Liu Kang, like, exploring that a little bit more?
Look, the unfortunate thing about movies is that a lot of things get like, things that are in the script doesn't necessarily make it onto the screen in the very end, right?
Oh, okay.
And I think the Liu Kang Katana scene that we shot, that was actually left on the cutting room floor.
Really?
Yeah, there's a lot of ideas around that scene, but, like, this isn't my first time, like, experiencing something like this, you know? Like, it's unfortunate. We shot it. I thought it was great, but it doesn't fit in the whole... Yeah. The rhythm of the story.
Right. And I totally get that, right? And, like, because even now, I didn't feel like I was missing it, because, again, it doesn't fit for right now.
Right.
But I do think, like, the fact that he does give up his life for Katana to get her destiny in that moment, because this movie is setting up, like, oh, she has a grind to axe against Shao Kahn. It makes sense for her to take out Shao Kahn in this moment. So I can see, like, you know, obviously they're teasing that, like, you know, they're gonna go back, get their friends back. I can see there being a moment between these two where she, like, in a way, I'm not writing the movie here, but she thanks him and says, like, that couldn't have been easy for you to do. Yeah. Right? Like,
well, in a way, you are writing the movie, because after the first movie, a lot of fans wrote things about the movie. You know, what they wanted to happen, what they wish could happen, what they wish didn't happen. Right. And then we took those notes into consideration, and that's how the second movie is the way it is right now.
Yeah. So you went through a lot of changes from the first one to this one. I'm going to get into, like, the big physical one, but one of the main ones that I want to get into, and I'm going to joke with you a little bit, your hair looks a lot better in this movie than it did the first movie.
Oh, are you serious? Okay.
Yeah, it looks a lot better.
Okay,
man.
Cool. Okay.
It looks good. It looks really good.
Yeah, that's an experiment, because that's my own hair in this movie. In the first one, it was a wig. So maybe it looked... I don't know, man. When I go back and look at the first one, sometimes I wish I had that wig.
Oh, really?
You know, sometimes I wish I could just put that wig on and feel like the thick luxuriousness.
Yeah. It looks good. Like, that wig looks good.
Yeah.
It's just that in this one, I was like, something feels a little bit more natural about it, right?
Okay,
and it's good to know that that's because it's actually your hair.
Are you very good at picking out AI videos versus real videos?
I can be, but sometimes I get shocked. Sometimes I do get shocked.
Yeah, it's getting scary.
It's getting pretty scary. Okay. So what are you saying? Like, were they going to AI your hair?
No, I'm just saying, if you can tell the difference between the wig in the first movie and my natural hair in this movie, maybe you got some natural aptitude.
Oh, nah. It's just I watched before I got the second movie. I was like, oh, it's a good idea to, like, watch the first movie, because, like, I do genuinely enjoy, like, a lot of that movie. And so I was looking at this, and then I see your hair in this movie. I was like, something's going on here. Also, I was dating someone who was really good at picking out hair because she was like a hairstylist.
Oh, okay.
So she would always call out like, oh, what's a wig? What's natural?
okay.
What's this? What's that? Or
Okay.
like, what's good? What's not? And so she didn't pick that one out. I felt proud of myself when I said, oh, that's his real hair. So I'm just learning.
That's
learning right now.
fantastic.
Yeah, man.
All right. I'm glad one person got that.
Don't worry, I
mean,
got you. I got you, man. But in terms of like, your physical body appearance, right? Like you yoked up even more for Liu Kang this time around.
Yeah, I gained a lot of weight for this one. Yeah.
And I like that because I think in an interview you did say that like, it's almost like it's canon to the games where like in every single game they get even beefier and beefier
Yeah.
and beefier.
Yeah. Compare the first Mortal Kombat to the
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just not feasible to. Everyone would have to be Martin Ford, right? And they would have to hire. I don't know. They would have to build a robot to play Shao Kahn.
Basically,
'Cause-
that's the only way it's going to be
yeah.
believable at that point.
Yeah.
But I want to know about like your physical regimen and training, and almost like before you even jump into the training for it, like what do you say you want your body to look like, right? Obviously, you look at Liu Kang in the games and say it's got to be that, but what do you specifically do to keep yourself from looking like someone like Jax, who's like he's a brawler, he's super duper yoked,
Yeah.
he's not
Yeah.
a Liu Kang type of body type, right? So
Yeah.
how do you start by getting the Liu Kang of it in that prep?
I think depending on what kind of training you're doing, your body tend to want to naturally adapt to adapt itself. Like the form of your body wants to adapt itself to the function.
Okay.
Right. So I was still doing a lot. I'm always very big on flexibility. Very big on calisthenics, very big on just moving well and function. So, yeah, I didn't really need to fear that getting too big,
Of course,
like
yeah.
a bodybuilder type
Yeah, see,
would have been a problem.
I only ask because this is just my sly way of trying to figure out like your workout regimen, so I can
Yeah.
adopt it.
Yeah. Okay.
So, like,
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I don't know.
so tell me how you got those arms, man. Like, tell me how you worked that out.
He's trying to meet him at the LA Fitness
Right,
and
I'm
like,
right, for real. Just like watch him in the background, just like, okay, he's doing this, he's doing
Yeah.
that. But I always found that like fascinating because I used to play basketball, and
Right.
like, I used to have a basketball
Yeah.
body. Not as much anymore. Like
Yeah.
you can tell I still go, but.
Yeah.
I remember I was asking a buddy of mine, and he said like, "What kind of body type do you want?"
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And since I'm a big nerd, he was like,
Yeah.
okay, do you want a Captain America or do you
Yeah.
want a Spider-Man?
Yeah, yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
well, what do I have to do to get either
Yeah.
one, right? So I
Yeah.
was curious, like what is like the regimen to get a Liu Kang, you know?
I think that's a beautiful question. I think that's a really empowering question to ask someone, like what type of body you want, because it gives you the option of actually like knowing that, yeah, this is a choice. You know, that you can build whatever kind of body you want. Like I'm always thinking about the nature versus nurture aspects of it. Like what, not just with body types, but with other skills, like with singing. I'm always asking, like I want to sing well, and I'm always asking my friends. I think I'm just too nervous to just dive into it. I'm always asking my friends, like, hey, like good singers that I know,
Right.
whether they think that singing is something to like you're born with or is something that you can train. Same thing with comedy. Are people naturally funny, or
Yes.
can that be taught? Can that skill be honed?
Yeah.
And then with body types as well. And going back to my childhood, like I was a pretty, like you're talking about basketball players. I was a very chunky kid in high school.
Okay.
And me looking at physiques, athletic physiques, like watching the NBA, even just watching my friends in the gym, I was flabbergasted. I
Right.
thought they were just born like that. I'm like, there's no way
It
that
takes
you
a
can
lot of work,
achieve
yeah.
something like that. It does take a lot of work, but surprisingly, you get the results. You can get the results so quickly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I remember I started playing when I was 5th grade. That's when I started playing.
Yeah.
And I was fucking terrible. I
Yeah.
was so bad at it.
Yeah.
But I loved it so much that like I did like look up like, okay, what type of workouts am I gonna do?
Yeah.
And I took to it really fast. I think
Yeah.
I got good inside
Yeah.
like maybe 6 months.
Yeah.
And then as you start to like get more discipline in it and like you start to do things on your own.
Yeah.
Not to brag, I'm not trying to brag. I was the best player on my high school basketball team
Yeah.
for many, many years.
Yeah, you can flex, man.
Yeah, I'll flex a little bit.
That's
great. So, but like, I never thought of like, the outside looking in and being like, oh my God, like, how are they doing this? Because again, when I started, it was like, oh yeah, you just, you put up some jump shots, you work on your core, you work on your agility, you work on your endurance, and then next thing you know, you just add. It's like basketball is like a thing where you can constantly add things to your repertoire, right? And so like I never thought about the outside looking in and being like, oh my God, how are they doing that?
No, that's the beauty of it. It's it's a never-ending game, right? It's an infinite game that you can always keep playing because you can always add things to it. And I think fitness is the same thing because I don't I'm never bored when I'm working out because either I'm like you were saying, if you're playing basketball and you're like, I want to jump higher, you're doing plyometrics. At some point, you're going to get lots of results in the beginning, and at some point you're going to plateau. And then a lot of people get frustrated when they plateau and they start giving up because they're not seeing any more results. But what I do personally anyways at that point is I need to pivot and work on something else. Right? If I'm working on explosive power, and that gets to a point where 4 weeks in to the gym I'm not consistently getting improvements or results, I'll pivot over to just doing pure strength or doing some speed work or endurance work. And then I think it's a cycle like that, right? You always, I always say a good piece of advice that I give myself is to love the way you suck.
Right. Yeah. Oh,
right.
That's
So
good.
then
you gotta start putting these things on the wall, bro.
I love the way you suck.
Like people say some really like insightful things. I'm like, we need to just put those on the wall, man. That's a good one. We're gonna keep that.
You're always I'm always trying to find areas that I suck in because that's where you get the most improvements in. And then after you come back to the other thing that you were trying to optimize at the level where you weren't seeing any improvements anymore, it's going to have a synergistic effect. You're going to come back and, again, you're going to suck at that a little bit more, but you'll be starting off at a higher level so you can achieve the higher level.
That's really cool. Now, talk about, starting off doing something and then, like you said, when you plateau, you got to try something else. When it comes to, some of the movies that you make, is there something that you haven't tried, martial arts-wise, that you would love to try?
Martial arts wise?
Yeah.
Oh. I mean, I had the idea to make a jiu-jitsu movie. I don't see too many good examples of those.
Yeah. I mean, when there's a capoeira movie, we can make a jiu-jitsu movie.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, is there a capoeira movie?
Yeah, Only the Strong.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
it's a good one.
I was obsessed with it when I was younger.
Okay, Don.
It's
okay, I'll
pretty great.
check it out. Yeah,
check it out. That's my rec to you.
Cool.
But yeah, we need more jiu-jitsu movies, which is funny that you say that because we just had Adam MacArthur in here.
Yeah.
Who's in Jiu-Jitsu Kaisen. So this is a lot of synergy happening right now.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah. I think someone can figure it out. I mean, it's not a very again, it's not a very cinematic thing to look at.
Yeah.
But again, one of my favorite movies is Warrior.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And there's a lot of
jiu-jitsu
in that. They just had to put the heart into it.
Yeah.
That's my favorite. One of my favorite martial arts movies.
Yeah, it's gritty, man. Like you said, it's not pretty to look at, but I think that's what people like about it is that the fights feel very genuine.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that would be actually really cool. But yeah, I'll rec you that one, and then I think you're the guy to make that jiu-jitsu movie. I think you're the one to make that movie, man. So if you can do it, I'll be in your corner. So something that I want to talk to you about. I feel like we have to get to this.
Okay.
You and your co-star, who's also a friend of the show, Louis Tan.
Okay, cool.
You guys have something in common, and I don't know if you guys have talked about this.
No, I'm about to see him tomorrow night.
Oh, tell him I said hey.
Okay.
But you guys both auditioned for a role in Marvel that I heard. I believe you auditioned for Shang-Chi.
Oh, yeah.
And Louis auditioned for Iron Fist.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And so I was very curious if you guys ever talked about that together, and if not, I would love to know your kind of experience of wanting that role, and then just how that whole thing shook out.
Yeah, I could 100% see him in Iron Fist.
Me too.
Yeah.
So funny story about this is that I remember watching Iron Fist. In full transparency, it was not my favorite of that Marvel Netflix run. But the one thing, and you can watch my old like YouTube videos when I was not a big person at all. Like I think I only got like 2 views where I talked about that.
Okay.
I was like, episode 8 is when Lewis shows up
Yeah.
as the drunken master.
Yeah.
And I said, he should have been Iron Fist.
Yeah.
I was like, I would have
Yeah,
loved
yeah,
to have watched this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I find out, I think like 5 years later, that he actually
Yeah.
auditioned, and I think he actually had
Yeah.
the role, and then it went to.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I think he actually got the role.
Yeah.
And then
See, those things are painful, man. It's. I mean, so
we
you guys talked about that.
We talked
you guys
about
talked
that.
about that.
He said,
Yeah.
He said it was a very painful thing.
Yeah.
And like he had to like, adopt this like mantra of like, don't take anything personal, especially in like the land of Hollywood.
Yeah.
Plus there's always other opportunities down the line.
Yeah, he's good at doing that.
And then that got him the drunken master role,
Yeah.
which then like turned into other things. So
Yeah.
everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
And so it was really funny like hearing about that and just going like, dang, like that would have been really cool if you would have like got that. And I'm really hoping because Iron Fist hasn't been recast in the current MCU yet, that they revisit like his version, because he's still in the greatest shape of his life. He looks exactly like how he looked all those years ago. So
Yeah.
like I really hope that. But for you, finding out that you auditioned for Shang-Chi was like really, really cool for me, because although Simu Liu was like great in a role,
Yeah.
like he crushes that, he is Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
But like I want to know kind of like your process of like hearing about the role. How excited were you, and like was it as painful for you as it was for Lewis for that?
Yeah. I knew that role was going to make a huge difference in how our, like the Asian American, Asian Canadian, the Asian diaspora was going to be seen in pop culture.
Yeah.
So it was so important to me, because my dream, my big dream of doing films is to be able to do something that can bridge the East and the West. It's that
Yes.
simple, right?
Yes.
And hence that's why I started working in China. Made a lot of movies there before I even got Power Rangers. And I thought I was on the right path. And I knew Shang-Chi was going to be like a linchpin, very, very pivotal. It was like the natural progression after Crazy Rich Asians.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we're going to have a Marvel superhero.
Of course.
That is Asian, right? At the time, what was difficult was I was actually shooting a film in Alabama.
Okay.
Yeah, called Son of the South. It's about the Freedom Riders, about
Right.
the civil rights movement, and in hindsight, there's no regrets, because of that I couldn't get in the room to do the audition.
Oh,
I had to
wow, okay.
send all these tapes in, and like for me, I really prefer to be in the room because there's a different energy, and then it's just you're thinking less, right? You're
Right.
very much in the moment of the audition. But in hindsight, I don't regret it, because I learned so much just being in Alabama, being in Montgomery. That was crazy.
Yeah.
But anyways, that Shang-Chi felt very important. And when I got the call from my agent saying that role wasn't going to me, what he heard was silence, and then this groan. Like I let out this guttural like, oh. And
I feel so sorry.
yeah, and he knew that it really meant something, because I've never done that before about any. I'm pretty good at letting
chill
things
on
go.
every- yeah.
Letting things go. Yeah, that took a while. I don't know. There's something.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's okay though. It meant that it was important. It meant something to
Yeah.
me. And look, when Shang-Chi came out, I live in Vancouver.
Yeah.
So we don't have big premieres or whatever there. I still bought a theater, invited like people like around Vancouver to come see
Right.
the movie. And the kid who plays the young Shang-Chi,
Okay, yeah,
he
yeah,
lives
yeah,
in
yeah.
Vancouver as well.
Oh,
Yeah, and he
cool.
came to he was
Yeah.
the star.
Yeah, that's
Of
cool.
the
That's nice. That had your own
of the
premiere
showing of
for
the
him,
screening.
kinda.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was
That's
really cool.
good.
It
I
was
believe
a
he plays,
community event.
I believe he plays Zuko in the live action Avatar as well. The Avatar of the Last Airbender TV show.
Right? No, not. Oh gosh.
The young kid who kid who plays Shang-Chi?
Yeah. There's two versions. There's him.
Yeah.
But there's a young Shang-Chi
Right.
in Shang-Chi, and he lives in Vancouver.
Yeah. And y'all
Yes.
have the
And
premiere for
there's
him.
there's a very young Shang-Chi. Yeah, there's a toddler Shang-Chi.
We went deep
I
on
showed
this
up.
one.
Yeah,
Hey,
he
we
was-
had to.
Yeah,
Fact check
we
it,
went-
baby.
yeah,
we
went
We don't
deep.
wanna- we
Yeah.
don't want to like
Yeah.
get the wrong
Yeah.
information here.
Yeah, and Dallas is amazing. I've known Dallas for a long time. I've heard
Okay.
him for a long time. He's like, he's like a parkour champ at 13 years old. He's like amazing.
Yeah,
He's killing it.
I liked him when I met him about 3 times or something like that during the run up to Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Right.
And he's super cool kid.
Yeah.
Super dope, man.
Yeah.
I love him so much.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah,
man, you made me sad for you for the Shang-Chi thing.
Dude, I was sad.
But you're even better for it. You're Liu Kang now, man.
Yeah. I was it's okay to be sad.
Yeah.
It's okay to be
You're
sad,
feeling it.
It's okay to like just hold that sadness and be like, you don't need to fix it. You don't need to like, yeah, you can say you can heal, but like,
Right.
it's okay to be sad. It's okay to be human and to be
Right.
sad about something that's important to you.
Yeah. Plus, like, you're gonna feel it in this business. Like, it's gonna happen. So I get that. All right. So I feel like my entire life, or at least my entire life from 2017, has been leading to this moment. The Power Rangers movie. Fantastic fucking movie, dude. It was incredible.
Thank you so much, man.
It was
That's
so
really
great
good to hear.
We talked a little bit about it before the cameras were on, but I feel like I watched it 2 days ago, and then I watched it before coming here, and I kept, like, my girlfriend would tell you, I was on the phone with her, and I kept saying, this is a good fucking movie! Like, it's so good! And so, how is it with a movie like that, which I feel like it's very clear how much people love it and how much people are asking for a sequel for that. How is it for you, or how confusing is it for you, knowing that people love it, but like the sequel just isn't moving forward on that one?
I think things like that just makes me realize how big and complicated the world is. Like, first of all, everyone was excited about the movie that I know, including the producers, the studio. Just everyone was so rooting for the movie and had so much confidence in the movie, right? And again, that was my first big studio movie in Hollywood. It was my first big premiere, the first premiere that I brought my mom to, which showed her that like this is working. Like acting, choosing acting as a career is working. You can chill out.
Okay, let me do this.
Exactly, that's exactly it, right? It's the first time that she saw how big it was, how glamorous things were. And yeah, to this day, I still meet people that talk about the movie like nonstop, asking for a sequel, asking like what's gonna happen, like what was supposed to happen with Tommy.
Yeah.
And again, it just makes me realize how complicated the business is and how big the world is, because sometimes you hear these things that you think like everyone is in on, everyone is behind.
Right.
But then the world is much bigger than that.
More complicated than
And
that.
it's much more complicated than that. So I'm proud of the movie. I got exactly what I needed out of the movie, which is a lot of cool memories, important friends that I'm still close to this day, and a great experience. And again, a chance to do what I love and to continue doing what I love to this day.
That's great.
And also like people like you who really love the movie, right?
Wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
It's wholehearted. And
Yeah.
you also had a chance to say that you were black in the movie, and I love that.
yeah.
It's my favorite. It's my favorite joke in the whole
It's me
film.
and RJ's favorite line. That's
the
probably
best.
our favorite scene.
I'm black. No, you're not. I am. Like, it's
Look,
so
I am.
great.
Yeah, it's so good.
But I love Zach. Like, honestly, like Billy, and I like that you said that that's yours and RJ's favorite line, because those are two of my favorite characters. Right? I feel like both of those characters are so dynamic, and I love that Billy is represented as someone who is definitely like on the spectrum, but you can still be
Right.
the hero of the story.
Right.
But and this, I really want to. This we can really get into this conversation right now. I like that Zach is, like you said this in an interview. He's an Asian American who lives in a trailer park, and you don't necessarily see that in movies and in Hollywood. It's like the model minority myth, right? And from hearing you talk and from this interview, you are very kind of like forward thinking in like your career choices and how you want the Asian community to like be represented and to be seen. And I feel like you said, this was your very first big like studio movie. Like, what was it like stepping into that role that again, many people may not clock, but it's way different than what we're seeing like your typical like Asian in a movie as?
It's what's fun for me. It's like it's what's fun to think, how can we see something different, even if it doesn't work. I'd rather see something different that has a chance of pushing something forward.
Right.
Like, for example, there's a couple of things in that movie that were important for me, that I had an opinion on, that I had some influence on. Right. One was how Zach was going to behave, he's going to be portrayed, right? Not just the kid who's super smart who's very good at math.
Right. Yeah. Of course.
Yeah, he's making his way. He's a hustler.
Yeah.
He's a little bit crazy.
Impulsive.
He's impulsive.
Yeah.
He's not quiet. He's not reserved. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's very important. We talked about for a long time. And the other thing was, it's very important for me to speak Mandarin to my mum.
Yes.
In the trailer park while I'm taking care of her.
Yeah.
And I hadn't seen that done in Hollywood films before. And just to get a few lines in was very important to me. So, and they couldn't, the studio at that time didn't even have the resources to write those lines. But the person who plays my mum is a friend of mine, Fiona Fu, who us together, we just hammered out the lines that made sense and got the studio to clear it.
That's really cool.
And nowadays, as we're talking about Sinners before,
Yes.
yeah, and there's some beautiful Mandarin, there's some beautiful like proper Chinese representation in that work. When I see that, I know that like whatever it was I was fighting for back then was worth it, because maybe it made a difference, maybe it didn't, but it was a start, and it was important to me in my way, and for the people that saw it. And has the same feeling when I see something like what's in the Sinners, or I think it was season 2 of Marvelous Miss Maisel, when that Asian character came on. Stephanie Hsu, yeah, exactly. And her portrayal, her pronunciation was spot on, was perfect. I'm like, yeah, that's representation. I think even people that don't speak the language can feel it. Feel like they're not trying to replace, like, this isn't just some generic Asian sounding language, you know, because like when she's acting with that facility in the language, and it feels authentic, it comes across on screen in her performance.
Oh my gosh, I love that we're talking about this right now, because quickly going back to because I do want to get into that Sinners conversation and then your movies, and then we can get out of here. When it comes to the character of Zach, like, I love that he was a character that you know how they say that the people who have been like the most hurt or going through the most stuff they come out with the most joy, and like you never really know. That's Zach, right? Like he makes the jokes, like outward facing, he's just like, I'm crazy, but like back home he's going through so much. And it all comes together in that scene where they're at the campfire, the bonding scene, where he's not afraid to yell out how great his mom is. Like, oh yeah, I live with my mom and she's the best. I'm like, I love that heart, those 3 dimensions that's given to Zach. And I'm glad that, like you said, those usual tropes that we see were not present in that character, right? Now we can get into like the Sinners thing as well, because I know you have
but that's so nice of you to say, man. That's so those words are so kind. Thank you so much.
Of course, man.
So nice.
I got it, man. I peeped it. But yeah, man, I just love when, like, because as a black man, whenever I see great representation, that's something that I want for everyone, and like I hope we get to a place where it's so commonplace that nobody even has to like think about it anymore, right? So but we can get into the whole Sinners conversation, because like I said, I was telling you, a lot of people who are part of the crew, the cast, like Ryan Coogler, the director, are like friends of me, the show, and some of we talked to Lee Jun Lee, and we talked about the place of the Asian America in the Delta South. And we got to such a great conversation about how like they were like the kind of like the in between, and we're going to like both communities, and a lot of people give her crap in that scene where like she tells the vampires to come in, but at the same time it's like, what would you have done, right? Like at this point, like, this is a black community thing, we can't allow them to wreak havoc on our community, so like, even though you may hate her for like
Yeah.
doing what she did, it's still like an understandable thing.
Yeah.
Right. So like the representation in that movie when it comes to the Asian American community, I was like so locked in, and it made me want to learn
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
about them because I didn't even know
Yeah.
they existed during
Yeah.
that time.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's also the beauty of film is like it teaches you things that you want to like kind of like expound on. Right.
Yeah.
So yeah.
100%, vice versa. Like watching films like that makes me want to learn more about the black community because I didn't grow up with, you know, I haven't lived in America for a long time. Like in Canada, we're even more of a melting pot than here.
Yeah.
You know, like especially in Vancouver. If you go to Vancouver, you want to find some Asian food, you don't need to speak English. You just go down to Richmond and start talking any type of Chinese and someone will help you. Do you know what I mean? So for me to watch films like Sinners, to do a film in Alabama, that was the most enlightening experience. And learning about how black history is in America and civil rights history teaches me about Asian American history. Like I had this revelation down in Alabama that there's so many similarities between the evolution of Black American culture and Asian American culture, and why there's similarities and differences today in representation in these cultures, you know. And for me, I was always thinking, like, because going to the Justice Institute down in Montgomery, seeing how literally black freedom was traded with blood, right? Like you really had to sacrifice yourself, like going to war for America and then coming back. So they had to respect you, and also it was a life or death thing. You had to speak out. You had to fight. Otherwise you don't exist, right? And I think this is just my take on it. I think for Asian Americans, we had the same bargain, but we took a different route where we were paid to be silenced. The deal we were given was, and maybe this is partly cultural as well,
right?
Because, you know, throughout 5,000 years of history in China, the status quo is to have harmony, to not disturb like the harmony of the society at the expense of yourself sometimes, right?
So you bring that over here.
So we bring that over here, and the deal we were given was, if you're quiet, we'll pay you. So we worked hard, and Asian Americans to this day is one of the most, that's where the model minority myth comes from. It's one of the most economically successful cultures in America. And also we go out and we spend lots of money watching films and movies, even though we're not represented in those movies, right? Because we were given like payment. We were given payment and profit. And just as long as we don't speak up, like we were fine.
Right.
And that's why it's been such a struggle for Asian Americans to be properly represented, for Asian culture to be properly represented, because we were taught not to speak up, not to say anything, right? That was the devil's bargain. And then also a lot of times we feel like we're caught in the middle of the culture wars, right? Because like there's such heated debates between like what's right for like white Americans, what's right for black Americans, and then for everyone else, Asian Americans caught in the middle, like we don't know which side to be on, right? Because historically, it's like the white patriarchy is you know, paying you to go, okay, work for us. You're on our side. We're in this together. We're fine.
But they still don't treat you like.
But right.
And you know, as we talk about Sinners, like that opens my, like, you know, I kind of like me and Lee talked about this quite a bit, but as you're describing it, it's opening up my mind to that scenario of Grace and like Bo, of like they were like in the middle, which is why they had the two shops, right? And so when things start going down for Smoke and Stack's crew and they're trying to get out of there, it's because it's that whole thought of like, we're just trying to go along, like we just have to be quiet about it, and we're trying to get out, right? So I thank you for like enlightening me on the history and the culture and like how that plays a role in like that, because now when I see these films I can look at that from that point of view, right? I have a friend, her name is Rachel. She lives in Australia.
Okay.
And she saw that movie Sinners in Australia.
Yeah.
And obviously they don't really know too much about American history, especially Black American history. Right?
And music history and all that. There's so much in that film.
You know what I'm saying? And so she calls me and she says, hey, like, I really like Sinners, but like I don't understand why everyone's so like all on this movie. Like what are some of the things that I missed?
But the fact that she asked means she was cluing into, like, she was feeling something that this is deeper than just a vampire movie.
Exactly.
Right.
And she was open. We literally were like texting back and forth, and I gave her like the full rundown of what this means and what this means and what this means to Black culture and what blues is. And she was like, oh my God, like this makes so much sense now.
Yeah.
And she was like, I have so much more appreciation for this film for that. And that's just like, why I love like sitting here and talking to people like you and like, watching these movies and consuming these things, because it opens this discourse in this conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so, me too.
I appreciate
things like that. It's just like this discussion, my mind is exploding just from talking about it, just from, it's like sharing different perspectives, and you gain a new window, a new lens into how to view reality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What's the movie that you were filming in Alabama, if I may ask?
It's called Son of the South.
Son of the South?
It's based on a book about a white kid who his whole family is in the KKK. Like his grandpa is the Grand Master, Dragon Lord, whatever. Right. And then for him, I think he saw one of his friends get lynched. And he knew that he had to take a side, so he took his place among the Freedom Riders when they were coming through, Selma and Alabama, right. And then it was about the whole, the race wars around that time. Yeah.
Okay, that's a rec for us. We're about to check that out.
Yeah. It was the director is Barry Brown. He's got a new documentary out, and Barry Brown is the editor for all of Spike Lee's movies.
Yeah, okay. See, that's dope. Spike Lee, also dope. We hope to get him on the show pretty soon. All right, so I think the last thing that we can ask you and we can get out on, and I know you've been itching to say this, and I might have like jumped the gun on some of these, but what are some of the movies that you were excited to talk about coming in here? I know Sinners was one of them.
Yeah.
And Predator Badlands was another one.
So, okay, let me think. So my recs were going to be Sinners, because even up in Canada, not a lot of people like understand how culturally important Sinners is.
Yeah.
Maybe over in Toronto, because Toronto's like closer to the States, and they understand like there's just like it's a different vibe over there, right?
Of course.
Vancouver's very easygoing, so some of my friends haven't seen Sinners. I always go like, watch Sinners. It's so multi-layered, it's so special, and also it's very, very entertaining.
Yes. I think it hits all those things.
Exactly. That's why it's so beautiful. So Sinners was going to be one of my recs. The other one I just watched recently was Predator's Badlands. It was so cool. It was like so well done. I love the hero's journey this guy goes. I'm always for the underdog, right?
For a Predator too? It's sick.
Yeah. It was so good. Oh. And then the other rec that I knew you weren't going to mention, is a French movie called Closer.
I like Closer.
Did you watch Closer?
Wait, it's about the two boys, right?
The two boys, yeah.
I love Closer.
Yeah.
Yes, that movie is fire.
Yeah, I'm about to do a film about a Vietnamese adoptee, his story, and in that story there's like a very close relationship between two boys. So I was doing like research on films like that, and that movie just like it was so beautiful, and just like it makes me think of just the pure childhood friends, like how close you were and how like pure that was and how important that was, And
then as you grow up, like how like perceptions can like affect like how friendships grow apart, like masculinity and those type of things.
Right.
And, I'm so glad you mentioned that movie, man. I love that movie.
Yeah.
It's so great.
Yeah.
But shoot, man, thank you for those recs, and thank you so much for coming by and talking to me, man.
Thank you. Thank you for watching the movie. Thank you for like...
Of course.
like letting me talk about it a little bit. That fight between Kung Lao and Liu Kang, we're so proud of that.
Yeah.
Like I didn't mention how like how proud I am of the entire cast of Mortal Kombat. Just watching the new trailer, every single close up, I was getting goosebumps. I was like, man, each of these people, they're movie stars.
Yeah.
Like we worked so hard, and it's all being displayed in full splendor on screen. And then that fight between me and Max, Max and I, we've known each other since 2012. We did a movie together in China, one of my first projects there.
Okay.
And he was still on Jackie Chan's stunt team, and to this day he's been on that stunt team for over 20 years.
Oh, wow.
He's like a true martial artist.
I can
He's
tell,
like
yeah.
so pure, and he really embodies Kung Lao. You know, like he does have that cockiness.
Yeah.
But because he's so good, he's so humble about it.
Right.
But when he's at work, you can see how much of a perfectionist he is.
Okay.
Like those flips, the director will be like, "We got this, cut, moving on," and he'll be like,
Wait.
he'll look at it, he'll be like, "No, I think I can do that better." Like my foot on the landing was a little bit off, and he'll do like 10, 20 takes
Oh my gosh.
of backflips, just keep going. And then when we filmed that fight, and we filmed it for a whole week, that one fight we filmed for a whole week. And after that fight, I was sitting with him, and we're just like looking at the big Australian sky at lunchtime, you know, because we're exhausted. And he goes, "Ludi, I think that fight was perfect. I think I put everything I wanted to put into that fight." And in that moment, I knew that was going to be gold,
Yeah.
and people were going to remember that fight.
Bro, I remember that fight. It felt like something straight out of like an anime.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
I was getting. I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God, like these two's relationship. Like, I don't know where and also, I got to say this too. Like, this movie has stakes that feel real, like very, very real. Like, the fact that obviously, like, Lewis, rest in peace. Rest in peace to Cole. When I saw that, like, listen, I saw the trailer. And I was like, where's Lewis at? And I couldn't see him. I was like, oh no, he's going to die, isn't he? So I kind of knew what was going into, like, when he and Shao Kahn, like, stepped into that ring. And I was like, oh, Shao Kahn has the power rated. And now, like, and so when that hammer came down, I was still like, fuck. And so every fight, I was like, I don't know if, like, the characters that I want to come out of this is going to come out of this. So in that fight between you and Kung Lao, I was like, I don't know where this is going to go.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
like, again, I know that this movie takes like inspiration from a lot of different games.
Yeah.
I know that Liu Kang has died
Yeah.
in the game. So
Yeah.
I was like, this could
Yeah.
so I really
Yeah.
appreciate the movie having those stakes,
Yeah.
and therefore like it informs the fight
Yeah.
all that more.
So I don't know if this is like getting into too much of a spoiler territory, and maybe we have to clear this, and maybe we can put
yeah.
it out or not.
We'll put it
But
out.
so when we first got the script, right, it was very much the producers are like, we're gonna make this like Game of Thrones. Like from the first go, we want
Yeah.
people to be like on the edge of the seats, guessing, like nobody is safe,
Right.
everyone can die, and in the end, like a version we shot, like everybody died. Actually,
really?
everybody got killed
You have
off.
a depth. You obviously you have a depth.
Yeah,
scene.
I have an actual death scene.
like a different one from the
A
one
different one that you guys are seeing in the final cut that you guys will see. I have a different death scene. And then that death scene was like more real than the kind of the spiritual. This is a bit
Right.
more like Obi-Wan Kenobi from
Exactly.
Star Wars,
It
right?
felt very like fire goddess,
Like
type of
transcendence.
thing.
Like
Yeah.
where did he go?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. The other death scene was different, and they had some early screenings to test that death scene, and people got so mad that the studio went, we need to do something about this, right?
Yeah.
And then so the Game of Thrones aspect was scaled back a little bit
Okay.
because it meant so much to people. But then again, you know, that version exists somewhere. And we all know that in the Mortal Kombat world, there's so many different realms and so many places to go,
Exactly.
right? So like, it's like, it's just a different journey.
And honestly, like, I would love it if there was like a deleted scene of like, oh, Liu Kang's death or this. Like, it's kind of like how the video games have,
Alternate
like,
endings,
alternate
like all
endings.
these different endings.
Exactly. So let's
Yeah.
get that on like the Blu-ray or like
Yeah.
the 4K.
Yeah,
edition. So
yeah.
I'm gonna help push for that. 'Cause
Yeah.
that'd be like
Okay,
really
cool.
cool. All right, but Ludi, thank you so much, man. for
Yeah,
stopping
thank
by,
you so
bro.
much.
And thank you guys for watching or listening to another episode of Get Wrecked with Straw Hat Goofy. Make sure you guys hit the like, hit share, hit everything, get the notifications so you know that we are live. And as always, if you like talking about movies, can I be your movie guy?